This time, I'm going to talk about how to build a cube using SQL Server analysis services. You might have heard the term OLTP and OLAP. So what's the difference? OLTP is the acronym for Online Transaction Processing. It captures, stores, and processes data from transactions in real time. OLAP is acronym for Online Analytical Processing. It uses complex queries to analyze aggregated historical data from OLTP systems. The data from one or more OLTP databases is ingested into OLAP system through a process called extract, transform, load, or ETL. The multidimensional data model is an integral part of Online Analytical Processing, or OLAP. The multidimensional data model is the method which is used for ordering data in the database along with good arrangement and assembling of the contents in the database. Multidimensional data model looks like a cube. Look at this data. It breaks down by product, and also the sum is calculated. And also it breaks down by time to different quarters, and the sum is calculated. And also it breaks down by location, and also the sum is calculated. So the multidimensional data model sometimes is also called a data cube. The cube has two main concepts. One is measures, another one is called dimensions. Dimensions contains qualitative values such as name, dates, or geographical data. You can use dimensions to categorize, segment, and reveal the detail in your data. You see, we have dimension here, and it consists dimension attributes, and it has different levels, and also it has its own hierarchy. In the meantime, measures contains numeric, quantitative values that you can measure. Measures can be aggregated. For example, you might have total sales amount for this year as a measure. There are two important concepts in data cube. One is called roll up, another one is called drill down. When you do roll up, basically you will aggregate all your data to bigger unit. And when you drill down, you will break down your data into smaller pieces to get the details. With your data cube, you can have two important operations. One is called slicing, another one is called dicing. Slicing refers to selecting a subset of a cube by choosing a single value for one of its dimensions and creating a smaller cube with one less dimension. In this example, we have time dimension as x-axis. So if you take certain months from this data cube, you are like to slice this cube into this two-dimension data. So with slicing, you can pick up specific time for the data set. And another concept is called dicing. Dicing, on the other hand, generates a subcube by picking two or more values from multiple dimensions of the cube. So, in this example, if you choose certain time period and certain type of customers and certain type of products, then you will have a smaller cube. This is called dicing. When you work on multidimensional data model, there are several steps you must follow. Stage 1. First, you need to assembling data from the client. And then you need to grouping different segments of the system. Then you need noticing the different proportions. This stage is very important during the design, because in this stage, the main factors are recognized according to the user's point of view. These factors are also known as dimensions. At stage 4, you need to prepare the actual time factors and their respective qualities. And all those qualities are also known as attributes in the database. At stage 5, you need to find the actuality of factors which are listed previously and their qualities. And the last stage, you need to build the schema to place the data with respect to the information collected from the steps above. In this video, I'm using Microsoft SQL Server, and also I'm using Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio, and also I'm using Visual Studio. The data I'm using AdventureWorks sample database from Microsoft. You can Google the dataset and download it, and it is free. I will not show how to download or how to configure all those systems in this video. There are many tables in this AdventureWorks sample databases. In this demo, I will use only these three tables. One is DIM currency, another one is DIM sales territory, and this one, fact reseller sales. Now, let's go to SQL Server and take a look at the data. I imported this AdventureWorks database already. If you want to import this database, you can search internet and find several instructions about how to import the database. Let's take a look at the diagram. In this demo, I will use fact reseller sales and DIM currency and DIM sales territory tables only. If you want to see all the tables, you can see there are many other tables here. And you can see the list of tables here. And in the meantime, I created a view here. in this view, I'm using those 3 tables, and then I build a query. If you run the query, you can get a result about this sales amount breaking down by currency and sales territory country. This is regular SQL database. And another one is Microsoft Analysis Server. And in this server, you can see we can have cube here, we can have dimension here. And now let's go to Visual Studio, try to build our first cube for this database. First, you need to create an analysis service, multi-dimensional and data mining project. I created that project already here, and then I will add data sources. New data source. I'll pick up this AdventureWorks, and you need to input your Windows password. Click Next, and then Finish. And then you can create a view. Pick up this one, the data source we just add, and we need to pick up this table. Of course you can add all the tables, but for now I only need those 3 tables I mentioned. Sales territory, and then fact reseller sales. Okay, you click Finish, and now you can see we have our data source view here. And then we will add new dimension. For this demo, I will only use currency as one dimension. For the attributes, I will add currency key and currency name. And before I click Finish, let's go to SQL Server. Take a look. You can see the dimension. If I refresh, there's nothing there. And in the Visual Studio, if I click Finish and I come back to this SQL Server, you refresh, you can see this is the dimension we just created with Visual Studio. And if you open that, check the property, you can see the status, the state is unprocessed. So from Visual Studio, we can click this one and then process that. You click Run. It said process succeeded. You close it, close this one, and you go back to SQL Server. You refresh that, and then you check the property. You see the status changed to processed. That's good. And then we come back to Visual Studio. We can add another dimension. This time I'm going to pick up sales territory, and I'll add some attributes. You click next, finish, and then you go back to this dimension. We can check what's going on here. You can see we just added a new dimension here. You check the property, it should say unprocessed. Okay. And you come back here, sales territory, you process that. See, run. Process succeeded. You close it, and let's check what's going on here. Let's refresh that. You see the status changed to processed. In this demo, I will use only those two dimensions. Now we can add a new cube here. We see new cube. It asks us to select measures. For measures, I'm going to use this fact reseller sales table. Go next, and then I'll pick up some field as our measures. Go to next, and then we will use the dimension we created here. Go to next. Of course, we can add new dimension from this fact reseller sales table, but for now I won't do that. I will only use this currency and sales territory as my dimensions. And then you click finish. You can see now we build our first cube. Let's go to SQL Server, see what's going on. There's no cubes before, but now if we refresh, we can see we got a new cube here. If we check the property, and also the status is unprocessed, and then we come back to Visual Studio. This is our cube, and then we'll try to process that. It says process succeeded. We close it, and if we check this again, just in case I want to refresh it, just make sure we get the latest status. Check the property, it says processed. Okay, now we built our first cube. What can we do with this cube? This shows the cube structure, and then you can generate your report by clicking this browser. First, let's pick up a measure. Let's pick up sales amount. If you execute the query, it gives you the amount. This is the total amount. And then if we pick up our dimension, currency name, and then sales territory country, we execute our query. you can see we can get sales amount breakdown by currency name and sales territory country. If we go to our SQL Server, you see I built a similar query here, and it will give us sales amount breakdown by currency name and sales territory country. It should provide the same result when we use this cube. Now you might have the question, so if we can get same result, why we still want to use this multidimensional data model? There are several advantages of this multidimensional data model. First one is it's easy to handle and easy to maintain. And there are several other points here. And I think the main point is it's flexible and it is much faster to get the result. Also, there are several disadvantages of this multidimensional data model. I think the main point is it is complicated in nature, due to which the databases are generally dynamic in design. But again, this multi-dimensional data model can provide you more powerful, more flexible reporting analysis ability than the traditional relational database model. This is how you can build a cube using SQL Server analysis services. Please provide your comments and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.